Happy Easter, everybody. I hope you woke up this morning celebrating that Jesus is alive. It's such a day to celebrate, even if we are at home or wherever we're at today. Even though we miss being at church, we miss being able to celebrate with everybody, we can celebrate today that Jesus is alive. I wanted today, instead of doing our normal lesson, to read you a book called The Parable of the Lily. It's one of my favorite Easter books that I've probably shared with you before. And it's just a good example of Jesus and God's love for us. And I want to share it with you right now. So I'm going to read it. It says, maybe you can see, I'll try to show you the pages as I read them. One wintry day, the farmer's young daughter shuffled through the snow, headed for the mailbox at the end of the lane. Brr, it was cold. Next page. She peered inside the mailbox and found a small white envelope. Surprise! It was addressed to her. Dear Maggie, the letter began, I'm sending a very special gift just for you. Look for it soon. Maggie loved getting presents, especially a gift as mysterious as this one. When would it come? Who was it from? What would it be? The farmer's daughter waited and waited. Some days patiently, some days not so patiently. Then one very ordinary afternoon, a box appeared on her doorstep. The gift had arrived. The farmer watched as his daughter excitedly tore off the wrapping paper. He was eager to see what she thought of her present. But Maggie didn't say a word. She just stared at the small wooden crate full of dirt. Dirt was not at all what she expected. Poking out of the soil was a small piece of paper that told Maggie how to care for her gift. Hide in a dark, cool place, water as needed, and when spring comes, bring into the light. Then she knew it must be a growing thing, like a bulb that would someday bloom into a plant. Oh dear, her long-awaited gift wasn't a toy or a doll after all. The farmer could see that his daughter was very disappointed, and his heart grew sad because the gift was from him. With a sigh, Maggie carried the wooden box down the steps into the darkest corner of the cellar and left it there on a shelf. Sometimes she remembered to water it, but most of the time Maggie just plain forgot. The farmer did not forget. He just waited and he watched. Here's that picture. Spring came at last. The air was warmer and the gray skies had melted into robin's egg blue. What a welcome sight the sun was. It was time for the farmer to hoe his garden, getting the soil ready for the seeds that filled his pockets. Maggie wanted to help, so she marched down the cellar steps to get her own Maggie-sized gardening tools. And that's when it happened. Searching for her toolbox in the darkest corner of the cellar, Maggie knocked the forgotten crate of dirt off the shelf. Crash! The crate splintered into pieces and soil was everywhere. And the flower bulb that rolled to her feet showed no signs of life. What a mess! Maggie was mad at the box and even madder at herself. She swept up the dirt and threw away the broken box, grumbling under her breath. And that ugly old flower bulb, she tossed it out the cellar door, never to think of it again. Until Maggie woke up earlier than usual Easter morning. A warm breeze blew through her bedroom window, and the chirping birds seemed to call her name. Still dressed in her nightgown, Maggie tiptoed out into the garden. She was hoping to find some daffodils or tulips to decorate the table for Easter breakfast. That's when she saw it. The loveliest lily that God ever made was blooming on the edge of her father's flower garden. Its white petals unfolded like a trumpet. Its leaves were green with new life. Its scent was as fragrant as the most expensive perfume. Look at that, beautiful. Maggie knew all at once what had happened. She didn't know whether to laugh, to cry, or to shout with joy. So Maggie did all three at once. "Wake up, everybody, wake up. Come see, the gift is alive." Her family hurried out to the garden, and they couldn't believe their eyes. So much beauty from such an ugly box of dirt. Maggie noticed the farmer standing in the doorway, quietly watching his smile, gave away his secret. "Father, it was you who gave me the lily," Maggie squealed with delight. Suddenly her little girl's smile began to fade. Oh dear, she'd thrown away her father's gift without so much as a thank you. How that must have hurt him. "I'm sorry, Daddy," she said, putting her little arms around his big waist. "Will you forgive me?" "Oh, my child," the farmer whispered, hugging her tight. "That's what Easter is all about." What does this story show you? If you think about it, it starts out and she gets a special gift. And we all got that special gift too. We got that gift of Jesus from God, right? And it says, God sent us that gift. And sometimes we may not value it. We may not accept him right away. We may not take Jesus and live for him immediately. We may not. God gives us that gift, but what if we just store it away? We just put it down in the cellar like Maggie did. And it says, and sometimes like how Maggie was disappointed, the gift wasn't what she thought. And God was, and could be like the dad in this story. He was disappointed because Maggie didn't take that gift and apply it in her life. And she just put it away. And then it says, but God didn't give up on her like the farmer didn't. He kept working and he kept waiting and watching. And then Maggie, she still threw the seed away. She spilt it and she threw it away and she still didn't think it was anything. But then, very early when she came out on Easter morning, what was alive? Jesus is alive. Just like these flowers that bloomed. He was our gift. And sometimes, even though we may not accept him initially, it's always never too late to ask him into your lives and to ask God to forgive us, just as Maggie asked her father for forgiving her, to forgive her because she didn't accept the gift right away. She was so sorry that she didn't. And she said, "Will you forgive me?" And her dad said, "That's what Easter's all about," because that is what Easter's all about. Easter is about that Jesus is not still in the grave. He is alive, and God will forgive us of our sins, and we can ask for forgiveness, and we can have Jesus in our hearts, and he can live with us every day, and we will have that special gift forever and ever that God sent us. And so as you think about today and Easter, don't forget, we all love all the other fun things that go along with Easter. We love Easter eggs and the Easter bunny, and we love getting goodies from the Easter bunny in our baskets. But don't forget the greatest gift of all that we celebrate is that Jesus is alive and that he is here for us every day. Hope you all have a good rest of the day, a good week, and I will see you next time.